Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19, Last Frontier, episode number 10. No Man's Land map has had an update, and the forestry part of the update was one of the main features. There was a crash that was occurring within the game. I hadn't experienced it, but to make sure that I didn't get to the point where I was going to experience it, I made sure I went ahead and took the update. Unfortunately, as a result of that update, I have a number of trees that have reappeared. Not quite all of them. Some of them are gone, but it is clear that some of the trees, anyway, have reappeared. So I might as well take advantage of it. If I've got to do the work to eliminate them, I might as well, get paid for it. So we're going to go ahead and cut these guys down, and I'm going to leave myself a little bit of a stump anyway so I can see it and take it out later. But I'll take these trees down and go ahead and collect the cash from it. But we've already had a recent episode with a lot of tree cutting going on and de-stumping, so we'll get a few quick cuts of this, but otherwise I'm going to just do this work mostly off camera. And then we'll go ahead and transition to picking up the swath left on this field. I've still got to harvest the other field. This one is awfully close to it. No, we'll take this one out. It's definitely not as many trees as we took out before, so a lot of them aren't back. It's definitely clear that some of them were reworked. Real world, it's taken me an hour and a half to get through this project, but that's okay, as we've earned an extra just over $20,000, about $22,000. Next up, I need to get the truck put away, which it's going to need repairs and fuel, so I'm going to make sure we take care of that before we opt to use it again. We're going to grab the tractor and stump grinder, take care of that, and then we'll be ready to get back to field work. Actually uphill. I decided after getting the initial start on the project that it would be in our best interest to go ahead and use this rinky-dink little windrower that I'm not a fan of, which, by the way, I need to leave the rest of that row, otherwise we're going to end up knocking most of it off the field. I need to leave this rinky-dink little windrower, get out there with it, and row this stuff up, because that baler just does not get the job done. I will miss bits, because what I'm essentially doing is I'm taking 3 rows and combining them down to 1. And that takes 2 passes to do, and then that means the 3rd pass will be with the baler, and that'll cut down time a bit for us. But like I said, not a perfect science on what I'm doing here. I will miss bits. Straw bales aren't worth that much. And actually, speaking of, how much are straw bales going for?
Comes the music. Boom, 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 boom. I'll shoot you right down. Boom, 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 boom. Ow, 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 ow. Boom, 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 boom. I'll shoot you right down. Boom, 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 boom. Ow, 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 ow.
on to the creation of the straw bales, and it's happening pretty quickly with the straw swath being pulled together. But of course, the size of the rower really has made it a little bit difficult at times for us to really bring the straw swath together. So there are definitely going to be chunks that I miss, but because the straw pays significantly less than what we get for a silage bale, it just makes sense that the straw is not going to be in urgent need. Of course, we don't have animals yet, so we have no need for it. I'm thinking about whether whether it's worthwhile to keep some of the bales, but at this point, I don't think there's a reason to do that necessarily, as I think we might still be some ways off from having animals, and there's going to be additional swaths to pick up later on. So we'll get our straw when we need our straw, especially as fast as this thing recuperates when we're not playing in seasons. And so I think for now we're going to go ahead and take the money and run with that, especially considering that it's $85,000 per piece of property that we purchase, and we're just $1,500 away from that now. And we should have enough already at this point. I think we should have enough already at this point in order to get through that next planting and then eventually into the harvest. Though I think we are just about out of fertilizer, so I mean there is a little bit of money that we need, but we're going to have way more than $1,500 coming out of this thing profit-wise. And since that's the case, then we might as well get that next field and start expanding the farm instead of having just two. That's going to bring in a whole lot more money. There's going to be some trees to bring down, field to create. I mean, that's good work for us. Let's go ahead and pick up this little double swath and be done with this part of the map. Or part of the field, anyway. Alright, this does take a while, especially with the heavy piece of equipment, this baler, and as slow as this tractor is at pulling it. Again, there's really only a couple hill sections, and we're just about done with one of them. And the other one's down in that bottom corner. But I'm going to go ahead and use the time-lapse, jump cuts and whatnot to get through this project. Alright, well, there's 4 bales left, and I've already accumulated more than enough money to not only buy the field, but have $10,000 remaining. And since we're about to harvest that next field, and there's 4 bales remaining, we'll go ahead and take the straw swath off of that one. I think it's another cereal that we did for there, which means it should obviously have straw swath, if that's the case, and that'll give us that much more if we have another 8 to 10 bales plus the harvest itself, if we decide to sell now. So what that means for us is we will easily be able to buy a piece of property next to us and begin our expansion that way. We'll have to line a couple of fields. It'll be 2 large fields, I think, one north, one south. We'll have to line those out, and then while I think I've got the tractor with the plow making the fields, I will work to take down the trees in the middle. At some point I'll have to pause it and go in with the stump remover and then take the stumps out and then get back to letting Courseplay work the fields. But in the short term, of course, I still need to take care of these 2 fields, and so we'll be doing that before expanding into that other field. But all of that should be occurring in-game today as far as time goes. We'll stay at ×1 speed. It's 11 o'clock. It's already approaching midday, but I'm going to get that first hint of being able to do multiple things at one time. really here just a moment, because I'm going to go ahead and harvest 26 South, the original field, the small one. I will run the harvester myself, while this tractor, now that the field is cleared, is going to be running the cultivator on Courseplay. This field's small enough that I'm just going to make quick, clean, easy rows, especially when we have the baler to come through with. Also, because we have the baler to come through with, being that this field is totally flat, I'm not going to use the windrower at all this time. I'll just run straight through with the baler, picking up the swaths. But that makes it all the more important to just keep it nice and straight. I have gotten the cultivator started, but Courseplay was acting a little funny as I went to create the course. So I think I am going to have to jump back over there soon. It's going to have gotten the outer rim, and then I'm going to end up having to go kind of back to the drawing board. I actually had it in place, but I wanted to tweak it just a little bit, and instead what I ended up doing was I ended up messing the whole thing up. But that's what happens when you're new to it. I used Courseplay back in FS19 briefly, and what I got out of that brief encounter was a single course set up to take care of silage. And what that course was doing was taking a telehandler, picking up silage, and dumping it into the BGA. And it did nothing beyond that. And yes, it does look like our tractor is done, and sure enough, there it is. Just to that single headland. That's what I thought might be happening. Well, now course generation is once again available to me, so we'll try this again. Still getting used to it. Okay, so I tried to go counterclockwise, and that threw things off. And then we have clockwise set. That's good. It does not seem to bypass. I'm assuming islands means this, right? Object detection. I'm not getting any sort of other object detection, but it doesn't seem to pick it up. So generate field course, and there we go. That's the direction I wanted it to go. Meaning it'll be done with all of the headlands. It'll be done with all of this when it gets down to here, having just this one remaining section. No! Oh, that's what it did to me last time. No, no, no. I don't want to... I want the temporary course. I want this course. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I've got the full course this time, without messing it up. Alright, so go ahead and drive course. But this is where the thing acts really strangely. It comes way down from where the rest of it is. Oh, and it's starting at point 129, so I think it's going to miss that second row. That's one row for me to cover, though. That's not bad. I could take that. It looks more like two, but let's hop back over and get to work here. I couldn't imagine doing all of that work myself that whole time. That's asking a lot. And I would definitely opt for plan B as opposed to the plan I'm going with. Obviously, as we just spoke about, the plan I'm going with is I want to expand and purchase number 25 before expanding my equipment further. So I want to expand my land and our income opportunities now while we still have small equipment. If it was the other way around, if I didn't have Courseplay and I was working all alone, I would absolutely go for an equipment expansion before purchasing Field 25. The main reason for that is the time constraints, how long it takes to do the work to make the money. I think one of the first pieces of equipment that I'd like to get is that $30,000 windrower that triples or at least doubles the width of the current windrower. I find it far more useful than the little $10,000 one that we have. Of course, we would be able to trade up essentially for that. So outside of seeds and fertilizer that we still need for both 25 and reseeding north and south on 26, I think we are at that point where that's definitely the next thing to invest in. So again, outside of that seed and fertilizer, and that's going to cost us a bit to do 4 fields, especially 3 of them larger fields, and it's going to take a long time to get through those. And the seed will definitely be a bit expensive on that. But again, field 25, just like we did on the north of 26, there is a whole bunch of ready to harvest grass. A whole bunch of it. And that, my friends, is a lot of money sitting there just waiting for us to get our hands on it. So I will take advantage of that. And if we do get the 30,000, well, I absolutely want to spend it. And I'm going to do that harvesting before taking the trees down. So, because we could really use that money, and bringing the trees down there in field 25 that we need to make room for the farms isn't that big of a deal. So I'd much rather kind of hammer that out and bring in that money, because especially if that means the windrower early in that process, then that'll make me a happy camper. You know what? Let's just go ahead and go this way. Why not? Turn around much easier this way. So we are doing oat. It does obviously have a straw swath again, so there is that extra opportunity for money. Also, we got that spray job done. So unlike last time where we only made $2,000, this time around, well, we have straw. So we're going to have at least a few bales. And then we don't have all the weeds. It's not terribly well fertilized, but I would definitely think that it's going to be worth more than $2,000 this time. But actually, I think I am now making a decision right here on the spot. I don't want to upgrade to that windrower mid-job. I want to upgrade to that windrower early in the process, as in before we start trying to do the mow job on 25, which should pay relatively well. So that means I need to get myself all the way to 115,000 kind of now. Because that's going to be the first thing we do with 25. And I'd like that improved windrower right off the bat from the get-go. So we need to get to 115. So between this harvest, this second set of bales, which really isn't that much, but still, it's another set of bales. So between this and that, hopefully we can get another 10 to 15,000, which will make us very, very close to what we need. And I think from there, all we need to do then is we've got the silo thing right in front of me, and actually there's our 4 bales left as well. And combine those puppies to get enough. We'll sell a little bit more from what's in there. Especially we'll start with oat. So I've only got 2,300 liters of oat right now. It really is not that much, and we're nearly done with the field. But like I said, it should be worth more than the 2,000. We'll see. I don't know. What is the price for oat? Take a brief look at that. Let's see. Yeah, we're making some progress. Oat is the funky bush looking one with the little hearts coming down. We've got 15,000 liters of it, but it's 890. So 890. So 89% of what we have here. That comes out, well, let's round that to 900. It'll be a lot easier to do the head math. So, yeah, that's already more than 2,000 by a decent margin. But not significantly more, is it? Looks like we'll get to not quite 3,000, which would be not quite 2,700. But the straw bales, damn near worth what the oat is. We'll see how many bales this is, though. Right, the other field is, what did we decide, 70% larger. So if I got 32 bales, then, you know, there should be a good 5-6 bales. Alright, so we got 2688, and we need to, we're going to go around. Round and around we go. Where we stop? Well, you should know. Do 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 do. Alright, well, we are done with the harvester for now. But without a second tractor, these jobs are going to be difficult and take more time than they could, especially with Courseplay. So that's the second piece I think we need to invest in as soon as we possibly can, being a second tractor, a better tractor compared to what we have now. Alright, let's go ahead and put you down, let's fold you up. Ooh, shut you down, not turn you on. There we go. Alright, check aid here, and yes, it did miss that outer row or two, but Courseplay is working. She's doing her trick, and she's prepping 26 North for that next plant job. And of course, unlike what is normal, we're creating a large headland all to get around those rock formations that just get in the way. And object detection on this uncreated field is a bit problematic. Now, it's down to half an hour to complete the job, but the stop and turnaround time at each corner, well, that takes a while, so it's definitely going to take more than half an hour. It's probably going to take close to an hour, and of course I will eventually have to finish the job, both getting these outer rows, but also as soon as it does make contact with the rocks, it's going to be my job to finish. And let's see, it's really only done, 300 points out of 1,200? So it's a quarter of the way done. A quarter of the way in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, there's that, but that's a quarter of the way in about 20 minutes. So it's going to run for a good 40 minutes before I run into an issue, and I'm going to let it do that on its own. Just for the benefit of my own sanity. I've got other things to do. I actually still have a business to run, so I'll take care of things like that. And I'll see you back for the next episode. Of course, this field, I'll finish the cultivating anyway off camera, and then we'll have this field to seed. We have the other field to bale, sell those bales, cultivate, and seed. To get them ready for that next harvest, and then we'll be ready to get started on field 25. And I think other than maybe late stages on the seeding, that'll be where I begin the next episode, and then for the most part we'll start looking into our field 25 next time. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.